Hello, abnormal family. I'm trying another way to record this. Hopefully, it will help with the sound. This is a pretty weird one, I must say. A few years ago, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia. They went on to recall it was my first time living in my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange. A wooden board which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space lay fractured in two pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work on the attic. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. I emailed pictures to the landlord, asking if anyone had been there, with the undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. Her reply read, "Please call me as soon as you are able to." I called and she explained that her last two tenants had said the same thing happened. She promised to replace the board, and she did. A month later, I woke up one night around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It felt like someone was rubbing his or her hands on me. Everything was silent, but then I heard dragging coming from above my bed. It was as if someone was pulling a sack of potatoes. I froze, convinced someone was up there. There was no way an animal could make it that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, armed myself with a cricket bat, and walked to the bathroom. That's when I saw the new board covering the hole was broken in two. I felt sick. The dragging sound had stopped, but I heard something else, whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and I could hear one sentence repeated over and over. "It's your turn. It's your turn." I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind. Then a fuse blew. My pet budgie, Dexter, whom I've kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night, but he started squawking like he was being strangled. I'd never heard him make those sort of noises. It was screaming. I grabbed my car keys, ran out, sat in the car, and waited there until the sun came up. I was so scared. When I saw people walking their dogs, discomforted me enough to go back in. The front door was open, but I figured I might have forgotten to close it when I ran out. I went to the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his cage. I felt sick again. All my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m. I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. "Oh, wow, you heard the whispering too," she said. I stayed in that apartment for 18 months. I heard the whispering on few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Although I live elsewhere now, the landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on. Forget it. It's their problem now, and I want nothing to do with it. Then I had another short one that was sent in to me, guys, I wanted to share with you. They say it's the boy with no eyes. One night when I was 10, I was woken up by my bedroom door opening, followed by someone sitting on my bed. It was not my mom. I found an eyeless boy. He had black, empty sockets, about my age, sitting on the foot of the bed. He extended his hand, and it was a little box. I was startled, but reached out. He pulled back, reached again, and said, "Give it." Then I blinked, and when I reopened my eyes, he was gone. But I could still see the imprint where he had been sitting on my bed. Fast forward 5 years. My girlfriend came over to do homework. After she finished, she took a nap while she waited for her parents. When they arrived, I tried to wake her up. She opened her eyes suddenly, looking up at the corner where the wall met and the ceiling. She pointed there and went back to sleep. I shook her again. She came to full consciousness. I explained what she had done. She looked haunted. Upon the wall, I saw a little boy with no eyes. He was there, in a Spider-Man pose, staring at me. I freaked out and told her my story about the same kid. Another 5 years had passed. I was with the same girlfriend. We had a 2-year-old. We were living in my parents' house in my old room. My daughter started waking up at the same time every night, and she'd talk. After a while, I noticed she had almost the same conversation every night. I playfully asked her once whom she was talking to. She said, "It's a little boy. He's nice. He's lost and looking for his mommy." My daughter's nightly conversations continued until we got our own place later that year. I think the first incident, guys, what was going on up in the attic of that place, I think it's possible that it could have been paranormal, but I also think it's possible that he may have had something else in his attic. I'm not sure. It's definitely not a place that I would want to stay, or, hearing little kids talking in your attic, talking about it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn. I don't believe that's something that would keep me wanting to stay in that place. I don't know if it tried to kill his small animal that he had in the kitchen. I think it is strange that that animal ended up in the bathroom and the toilet, but then again, it could have got thirsty when it got out of the cage, and it could have been the only source of water inside of the home. But beyond that, there is still something going on there very suspicious, and if other tenants are having the same issues, I would say that either someone or something is living in the attic that should not be, or there is a demon in that house, and probably should call a preacher and have the house cleansed. The second story about the kid with no eyes almost sounds like the black-eyed children, and it sounds again like it was trying to make friends with their child. And I think that any time that happens, you should take your child very seriously and rebuke it, out of your house in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't want those things hanging around, especially around your children. I have a cousin that experienced that with his child, and I know that they took care of it immediately because it was asking their child to do really bad things, even to kill one of the parents. So we have to take these things very seriously. They are very evil, and as we know, the enemy's favorite thing to attack is a child because they are the most innocent and the most precious to God. That is so true. And that is what the enemy does. That's why he attacks women and children. Because he is weak, and children are God's. They're God's little blessings, and he knows that. Until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. I hope you enjoyed this one better. I hope the audio in this video is better. I'm trying something different this time, and hopefully this one will correct the problem. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Don't forget, you can become a member on our channel, or you can join our Patreon, where we keep the photographs and sometimes the occasional video that is released to the Patreon members. And members also get members-only content. So just a little something I wanted to throw out there for you to think about. Thank you for watching. Until next time, be safe, and don't be something's dinner.